Hi, I'm Julian Mesa from the RTL team. We are going to explain how Android services work in general, the different kind of services we have, how we have integrated in Delphi. First of all, a service is an application component that can perform long-running operations in the background and does not provide a user interface. Well, the difference between a service and an intent service is that a service handles the request synchronously, but an intent service handles the requests asynchronously. So when you handle an intent in a service using on start command event, it's important that you create a new thread in which to do all the service work, because the service uses your application's main thread. If you don't require that your service handle multiple requests simultaneously, the best option is an intent service, which receives the intent for each start request so you can do the background work. The difference between a local service and a remote service is that a local service is available to only your application, but a remote service is available to any application. This implies the four combination that we have in the Delphi Android services we have. As we can see in the slide, we have local service, intent local service, remote service, and finally intent remote service. There are two ways to communicate with a service. The first one is calling a start service, sending an intent with the info needed to process a background task, and there is no feedback to the application. The second one is to bound to the service to communicate with the service. You can use both methods at the same time. Bound to the service is used to create a long-standing connection to interact with the service. Sending an intent with the start service allows to close the application, and the service can continue executing the background task because it's an unintended task. When you close the application, you have to be very careful because the service will be restarted. Then when the service is started again, you have to try to continue the task. When the tasks are finished, you should call to stop cells to stop the service to save the battery. Or if you have bound to the service, you have to unbind from the service, so no clients are connected to the service. To indicate that you want to restart a service in case of the application is closed, you have to return start sticky or start redeliver intent in the onStart command event. The difference is that start redeliver even intent will call to onStart command passing the original intent again. So if you don't need to save the state of the background task, you can process the original intent again when the service is restarted. Here we can see the life cycle of the service using a start service, sending an intent, binding to the service. In the first call, the service will be created. Then the service will be running, meanwhile there is a task running or a client is bound to the service. Well, when all tasks are stopped and all clients are unbound from the service, then the service will shut down. Before shutdown, on destroy event will be triggered in the data module. There is a special case when the main activity is closed. In that case, the service is shut down, and after a while, it's started again. In that case, you have to save the state of your work if it needed to load the state again when the service is start again using the onCreate event, for example, or processing again the intent if you have used ready-level intent in the onStart command. Now we are going to explain in an example how can we use a service to download a file. In this case it will be a video, and when the service finishes the download, we'll send a notification telling that the download is finished, so we can click in the notification and the video will be shown in the mobile. As you can see, we have a project group with two projects. The first one is the service, is a local service, and the second one is the application that contains the service. In the service side, we have a data module. This is the data module, where we have the events of the service. This is the event when the service is created, when it is destroyed, and when we send an intent to the service to be processed. In the onCreate, we create a list to save the threads that are downloading the videos. In this case, we can download simultaneous videos, but we are going to only download one video at a time. But the example is prepared to support more than one download simultaneously. In this case, the service is designed to process an intent. We can see here the intent, where when we receive the intent in the onStart service command, we create immediately a thread, and inside the thread we process the download. When the process is finished, we can see here that we stop the task using stop self. So when the thread finishes the download the video, the task will stop, and if there is no more task and there is no client bind to the service will be shut down. As we can see, we process the download, we receive the intent, and in the process download, the first step we do is read the intent. For that purpose, I have created a little helper. It's an intent service helper to make easy to process the intent. This is a very basic class that can be expanded to a more powerful class if it's needed. It's a record that have inside the record 3 private fields. The first one is the intent when we create the intent, and the second one and third is code and data. You can use any field that you want. Where in this case I decide that f code is the command that we can process, and in data is a string contains the info about the code, the process that we want to do. For example, if you want to create an intent to send the intent, you can call to service helper dot create, telling the service name where you want to send the intent. A code is an integer, and a string is the string that you want to process, and this will return the intent, the record. If we want to access to the intent, we have to the property intent that will return the intent that we have created using these params. So in this case, when we create an intent, we select the service name, a code, and data, and we create an intent with this method set class name. This is the package, the name of the application, so we don't need to write the package name, and this is the service, the name of the service which we are going to send the intent. In this case, the name of the service will be download service, is the name of the service. Okay, and in the intent we add the code and data. This is a number and a string. We can extend and add more info to this helper. Is a very basic example on how to do a helper to manage an intent, to read and to create an intent. If we want to create to read an intent, to process an intent, we have create, passing as argument the intent, and then in onCreate we extract from the intent the code and data using the get string and get int extra. So we read the code and we read the data. Okay, we return to the data module, and we can see here that I create with the service helper, I pass the intent, and I have the record helper to process the info. I have data. Code is not needed because code will be, for example, an operation, and now we are only going to download a file. And in data, I split the data. The first part of the split is the URL where the file is, and the second one is the name of the file that we want to save in the SD card download folder. Okay, we split the info, URL and the file name to be saved in SD card download, and we began to process the download. The first step is check if we can resume the download. So if the download is stopped, we can continue downloading at the last point before the crash of the service, or we have stopped the service. So if we can resume, we try to open the file to know the size of the file, so we know when we can start to begin to download. So if we have downloaded 1 mega, we don't need to download again that mega. And finally, we began to process the download, passing from the point that we want to start to download. This is done in that way because when I stop the application, the download will continue downloading on the last point. We don't need to start from zero again. Okay, this is a special class. Is in this pass. It's a class that inherits from a test thread to make the download asynchronously, and we have several events to know where in which part of the download we are. We have different events, and this is the more important event. Is when we receive the data of the file, so we can see a progress because we are saving the progress, and we can read the progress in the application of the file. To that purpose, I set the progress data. Is a function that will save the progress and the speed of the download. Okay, then we can connect to the service using bind to the service. So we have access to this bar using these two methods, get progress and get speed, that will read bars that have been filled in the unreceived data event, on the progress data event here. I'm not going to explain this class, but I'm going to upload this demo anyway, so anyone can see how is everything done in this class. Okay. As you can see in the data module, I make three public functions: get progress, get speed, and stop pending downloads. This last one, well, the two, the get progress and get speed, obviously is to get info from the application to know the progress of the download, and the last one is done by to stop all the downloads in a aggressive way to stop the download and save all the file to all the video to the file, to the internal SD card in a file. These three methods are public because they are going to be used directly from the host application. In this application here, we are going to have a bar which will be the data module. This is the service data module. As you can see, the name of the class name is the same name of the data module. Okay, so we need to add that unit to the project to be able to access to the data module. To fill this bar, we need to connect to the service, and on the connect event will receive the data module pointer. To do that, we need a service connection, a local service connection bar to create the connection to the service. This class is inside system Android service unit. So when we create the form, the first step is create this connection and set the property of the connection to service connected to receive the service in the bar, and this bar will be saved in this local bar of the form. So on the create form will set a progress bar. This is the progress and a progress bar. We set to 0, and we create the connection, and we set the service connected method to the event onConnected. So when we connect, we bind to the service, we'll receive an onConnected event, and this is the real data module that is in the service. So we store the data module in a local bar to be used in an easier way. I start a timer to set the progress every 100 milliseconds. Okay, So every 100 millisecond I update the progress bar. And we can see here in the timer I update the progress, and update the progress is simply read the get progress, and I set the progress bar, and I fill the label with the progress and the speed in kilobytes per second. Okay. Well, we return to the onConnect event. And this is the key of the Delphi connection. This is the service itself. Well, not the service, the data module that holds the service in Delphi. So if we extend the service here, we can use all the functions and read all the data from the service in a very easy way. Okay. As you can see here, we have a notification center. This is only used to receive the info of the notification. In the alert body of the notification, we have the name of the file. So I call the method showVideo with the file and a little sleep to be able to process all the events before the video start. In the showVideo, I only clear the media player if there is a previous video download. I set the file name and I play the video, and I enable the button 2 because that button is to delete the file, so we can delete the file that we have downloaded from internet. In the service, when the download finish, on end download, we are going to we create a notification. We have here the notification center. We create a notification and we send the notification with the file name that we have downloaded, where we have downloaded the video. So the application, when you press in the notification, will save in the event that notification, and we show the video. The video is this is a media player control, and this is the media player which will play the video. Now we are going to see how we send the intent to the service when pressing download. Here we can see how we create an intent using the intent service helper that I have explained previously, and we can see here the params to create the intent. The first param is the name of the service, the second one is the code, and the last one is the data argument, which is in this case the URL where we want to download the video, and I added also the name of the video which is going to be saved in the SD card. In this case video.mp4. And now we have only to send the intent. To do that, we are going to use the main activity, and we are going to call to a start service, sending the intent that we have created with the helper. This is the line to send the intent to the service. Okay, we are going now to see how it works in an Android device. Now I'm going to install the application. Okay. Okay. Now it's installing. Now we are going to run the download. I press on download, and then the application will connect to internet to download the file. It's a little video, a free license video, and as we can see here, it's downloading. I close the application. I will wait a few seconds to see how when I run the application again. It's here in download video. The application will continue downloading. Probably we will see that it's downloading in the middle of the video. Okay, I run the application manually, and the video is download finally. So when I open the file, the video begins to play. Well, this is a problem with the video. We can see we have received a notification to play the video. Okay. We delete the file, and we are going to download again the video. And I'm going to wait to receive the notification of the download. I press download, I close the application, and now I'm going to wait to receive a notification in the bar status bar of the phone. And when I receive the notification, I will press it in the notification, and the application will open and begin to reproduce the video. Continues downloading in background. And finally we have the notification. I press in the notification, and the application is open, and the video begins to play. I can delete the file. As you can see, all the download has been done in background. And also we have seen that the download continues, and we can ask to the service the progress of the download. For example, I close again and I wait a few seconds. Now open the video, and we see the download video. And we have received the notification.
You there, Diego?
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Fantastic.
Hello, everyone.
Yep, I hear you great. So the question here is, can you set up a service to start with phone startup?
Oh, yes, yeah, you can. The way to do is adding to the manifest file an entry, and you can run the service each time the phone startup, or even you can subscribe. This works subscribing to events. One event can be the phone startup, or even when there is a change on the connection state. For instance, when the Bluetooth is turned off or on, the same for the Wi-Fi. So there is a number of events that you can subscribe and launch your service when occurs, not only when the phone starts. But according to the question, yes, you can do just adding to the manifest file and entry.
Very cool. Do you need to use a thread inside a service because a service is already independent from the application, or especially since there's no user interface in the thread?
It depends. If you boil an intent service, it runs in another thread. If you are using the other method for the local services, if you are going to do some heavy task, you need to create a separate thread.
Okay, so intent services have another thread, but regular local services are already running in the main thread. So you would need one.
They create a kind of a worker thread they create, so no need to create another one.
Okay, that's good to know. How to create a service that runs on Android from time to time. Every 2 hours, for instance, a notification is issued.
I'm sorry, you mean run a service?
How can you have a service do something periodically, like every 2 hours? Should the service start and stop, or should it like pause, or?
Right, the only way that we can do right now is you need to control this manually. Probably is sleeping the service or setting alarms to wake up your service, and then you can launch the notification. But to program the service, you need to control yourself. Probably the best way is using the alarms.
So would the alarm wake the service up, or how would that work?
Right. The alarm will wake up the service, and then you can do the whatever you want, launching the notification or something.
What is the cast device application that was used to show the Nexus home screen?
Oh, don't remember right now the name. Sorry, we have an application that is pretty good, but I'm sorry, don't remember the name. We can provide later.
Okay. What are the requirements from Apple or Google for energy saving in Android and iOS background services?
Well, Google is very flexible on that. You can do almost anything. There is no restriction in this case. Probably you do some very CPU intensive and during a long time, probably the system can close your application. But on Android, we have a lot of freedom in this case of Android services. In the case of on iOS, is almost the opposite. We can do very few tasks, and it's very controlled by the operating system. For instance, we can download a file because there is a class for that. We can use Bluetooth and beacons, but the system will reduce the number of events that you receive when you are on background. When you pass to the foreground, you receive the full set of events, but on background, only a few set of the events. And on iOS, you can do any CPU intensive task. Probably, I think I remember the documentation, maximum time of 15 minutes. If you continue doing operation, the application will be closed and moved to the background time. for a brief, on Android, you can do almost anything. On iOS, is the opposite. Just there are, you can see the iOS background documentation, and you will see there is a number of tasks that are very controlled by the operating system. Download a file, playing music, recording music, and if I remember, the receive core location updates. This includes beacons and GPS signal and Bluetooth.
Yeah, they have a list of specific tasks you can do in the background, and you have to specify which ones you're doing. Here's a question. In your example, what's responsible for destroying the service? Does the service have to destroy itself, or where does that responsibility lie?
Well, there is a mechanism to control the life of the services. You can, from a host application, control how to launch with the stop self method. And then in the other case that you use the bind, one or more application can bind these services, or the same application can bind one or more time. And when the last application or the last instance do unbind, then the service can be stopped by himself.
What about if you use the start service command to start a service? Or start it with an intent? How long does it stay alive?
Right, in this case, probably the best way is to use the stop self method of the service.
Can we make the demos that were shown available for download?
Sorry, I can't hear you. Can you repeat?
Can the demos that were made of that were shown can they be made available for download?
Oh, sure. I will provide to you, and you can publish. Sure, no problem.
All right, yeah, send them to me, and I'll make sure they get posted.
Okay.
Does iOS allow an app to continue to run in the background, or only certain things like beacons, etc.?
Yeah, on iOS only beacons and core locations on, and you can do some tasks, very specific tasks, and very controlling. I mean, during a very short period of time. In theory, the maximum amount is 15 minutes, but only if you don't use or don't do any very CPU intensive task. I mean, if there is no Bluetooth or beacon or GPS or downloading task, you can only do tasks at a maximum time of 15 minutes. If you use Bluetooth, beacons, or GPS or playing music, you need to declare these actions on the info list, and you can use the application background on almost all day or all the time that the phone is on, no problem. But if is a task at this outside this set of very specific, only very short period of time.
Okay. I know that I've been using my iPhone and had like music, like Pandora music player or something, Google Maps in the background, and have it all of a sudden just stop, get kicked out of memory. So iOS will do that to all sorts of apps. Usually they'll keep working, but occasionally I've had them get kicked out. Does an Android service have access to all hardware as like a normal app would?
Well, not all. You can't use any visual control. You don't have access to the touch or the screen. The other things, I think yes, you can access to the sensor information and so on. So first step the screen and any other visual control, I think yes, you can access on the hardware.
When an Android application is closed by a user and restarted automatically by sticky service, how do you handle this situation gracefully?
Well, that's difficult. You need then to save the status of your service in order when this is relaunched for the system, you can read this status and continue on the same point. That's the only advice that I can give is just be careful and save the status of the service some time. During downloading a file, it's so easy because you are saving the file when you are receiving. So if the service is closed and then is reopened, you can write the file and get the amount of data that you save and continue in this point. Something like that you can apply.
So I know there's some things like, for example, the T-timer doesn't work inside of a service. Is there a good guide for what you can do from a service and what you can't do from a service when using non-visual controls?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Talking about our framework, you can use any FireMonkey control, including the timer. So you can use Android alarms. You can use the API for that, or even the HTTP, Bluetooth, all the components that are outside FireMonkey. There are no problem to use even the notification and so on. The only restriction here is to use any control inside the FireMonkey framework because it's very linked to the visual operations that are totally forgiven in services.
So if the component's in the FMX namespace, then it's probably not going to work inside the service.
Yeah, not to use. Yeah, probably your service will crash when the service itself is launched.
Can services only communicate to bound apps, or can they also send data, for example, to the calendar app or other apps on the Android operating system?
I'm sorry, I understand with the calendar.
So can, as far as what other apps can a service communicate with, can it only communicate with the app that is bound to it, or can it communicate with other apps on the operating system? For example, talk to the calendar app or something like that.
In this case, we need the calendar, for instance. Probably it has a service to share data with other applications or services. That's the key. For instance, if you find on Android, there is something like Google Play services. These services expose, as the name, some services that you can use. In general speaking, probably you don't need to use this service because I'm pretty sure that is an API that do for you and in a very easy way that using the service directly. So services, well, they can talk with, for instance, with another application that has some service publisher.
Okay, how can you bring an already running application to the foreground when the user clicks on the icon on Android instead of launching a new application?
Sorry, I don't understand the question. How launch?
So if you have an application that's already running in the background, how can you bring that application to the foreground when the user taps on the icon? So I guess from the launcher on Android instead of launching a new instance of the application.
That's a good question. I need to take a look, because the way we do is, well, using notifications from the service to launch a notification to get the application into the foreground. But using the application icon, I'm not sure right now how to do. Need to take a look, and then I can send an email to share this information.
Maybe you post it on a blog post. That would be good. So if someone's asking again, can a timer be used inside of a service? Can you put a T-timer in a service?
No. The standard T-timer component that we have right now, we can use on the Android services. You need to use directly the Java API. It's because it's inside the FineMonkey framework, and it's indirectly is using some visual elements that is generating a crash. So you can use the or an Android alarm, or use the timer API inside the Java framework instead of the T-timer component.
All right. Well, we're running out of time here, and questions are slowed down. Oh, one more came in here. Considering the background question, he needs to save state and restore state. That is the way it is on Android. Okay, so Roland's just elaborating or confirming, yes, that is the way you're supposed to do it. And he provides a link to the save state doc-wiki. Can you share a SQLite database between the app and the service?
Yes, you can. You can share, because well, the database need to be inside, of course, of the application, and in this case, you can share. Yes, if it is on the assets like the Android standard.
So if it's
I'm not sure, but in theory, yes. I don't try this scenario, but in theory, I think yes, you can.
So for local services where the database is in the assets, then you can share it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Do the service and app share the same folder space on the phone?
Yes, in theory, the service is owned by an application. So in this case, they can share the same assets.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Diego, and thanks for all that you do for helping out with this Q&A and for all the work your team does in FireMonkey and RTL and such.
Thank you for attending, and have fun with services. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, bye.